there's no pressure on the prospect coming into the next call to where it has to close. It's the next call we're going to focus on diving into more details about what it is that you actually get, and making sure that there's some final questions I have for you about alignment as well. And then of course you're going to have questions that develop overnight as imagine, as you think about where we're taking you from to where we're taking you to. So make sure to have those written down, bring them back, and tomorrow we'll look at that. And if the investment makes sense, we'll move forward. If not, I'll help you go the direction that you're looking to go. And they're jumping off the call, just really grateful and on this kind of like high that, wow, this guy really gets me. He helped me find this clarity and got me out of my own way. So yeah, let's meet tomorrow. And then they're going by out, and they're probably looking at their finances, looking at and I give a lot of them our price range. That's not something that they encourage in the sales mentor, but when it's one thing if you're a setter for somebody else, bowing out of that is a lot easier than if you're the final decision maker to move forward as a closer. Then it just feels awkward and awful if you're withholding the price. I've seen that play out. You can do it, but you have to be really good at closing in order to do that. And they have to also have a certain preparedness. So I'll give them a very strong range, sometimes from our bottom price point to, and that's what I'll usually do. I'll be like, just so you're aware of it and it's not on the back of your mind and you're not like, I can't believe you didn't share it with me. The price range you're looking at for working with us actually starts at 7,800 and goes up north of 50,000. I know that's a big range, but there's a lot that we can do. And obviously, we're going to look at the packages that would make the most sense for you. And if it doesn't make sense to start this right away, it's totally cool. But tomorrow we'll cover that and look at exactly what I think is best for your situation.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that seems like a reasonable place to start with a discovery call.
Cool.
And is there any other context you think I should have before going into this, or?
No, I think you're good, man.
Okay.
I think so.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's a phone call, so I'll turn my video off.
Sounds good. All right. Ring, ring.
This is Jackson. How may I help you?
Hey, this is Jackson. This is Benjamin Beal calling from, oh, do we have a company name or do we?
ABC Company.
ABC, from ABC Company. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Did I catch you at a good time? We have a 45-minute call scheduled. Is that still going to work for you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, how did we?
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry, I
reached.
kind of scheduled quite a few things, so that's fell off my radar.
No worries. It's not uncommon. You reached out to us online. You probably saw one of our advertisements for our fulfillment agency, to help you build your business online.
Okay. Yeah. I got some context now. Go ahead, Ben.
Okay. So yeah, how's the weather where you're at? You have any?
Oh, I hope it's good. It sounds good. I hear the birds. I'm not yet.
Excellent. Hey, no problem. So if you're okay, do you have something to take notes with?
I do. Yeah, and I've got about 20 minutes. Looks like maybe no, got a little bit less than 30.
Okay.
But that's okay.
So we can we can make that work. Ideally, we'd have 45 minutes, but if we can keep your answers short and concise, I think we can get the information we need to move forward on this call.
Okay.
So how today's call is going to work is I'm just going to quick get some questions out there, get a feel for what your business is like, and just so we can see how things work and if we can have a product that works for you. And then we will schedule a follow-up call where we'll discuss what our services are and how that would fit into your business growth plan. Sound good?
I mean, I'd like to know more about what it is y'all do, of course. So if we can fit some of that in today, that would help me. But I agree with taking more time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not in a hurry. This isn't a sales call. This is an assessment call. And So if you wouldn't mind, give me a little bit of history about your business, what you do, how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I own a number of companies, and from I've got one company that this is going to be focused on, um, and the company this is focused on is an agency that I've owned for 4 years, and the agency has done phenomenal. It did super well, but I had a business partner that was running it for me, and I was working on my co-working space, that I run as well, and he was pretty much in charge of it. And for lack of a better term, he kind of really screwed things up, and then left and took the biggest client with him, and it's kind of a mess. But uh, he parted ways about 2 years ago, and so I've been back in the operations, kind of fixing relationships and re-securing clients that went away. And as I've worked on building things up, um, I'm I've been pretty spot on with LinkedIn prospecting in the past, and this I got nothing out of it. So I guess the algorithms or the approach styles have changed, and I know that that's not my specialty. I am we're very good in the B2C marketing space, and running ads and campaigns for B2C, but B2B, I'll bow out. That's not my area of expertise, but that's what my agency needs. So we're I'm looking to scale up at this point, and that's what caught my attention about you guys.
Okay. What kind of revenue are you generating?
Yeah. So right now, let me just make sure I get that fully correct. Um, 1 second. So revenues. Right now we're at about 15 to 20,000 per month. Yeah, per month.
Okay. And of that 15 to 20, what are the costs of running the agency?
Costs are we have about a 25% margin on that.
Okay. So you're making between about $4,000 and $5,000 a month is what your profit is on this business?
That's the profit, yes.
Okay. And so you said you have other businesses. You have a coworker space, and what else do you have going on?
Um, they're not super relevant to this, but I do have other businesses that I'm involved in, but I don't have to spend time on them. They're delegated
All right. Uh,
just for the sake
are
of
you
quality.
right? Fair enough. Um, Now, do you have revenue set aside to grow your agency?
Um, yes.
All right. About how much have you set aside?
We're actually really good there. So
Okay. That is
depending
good
on the
enough.
range, that you have available, like I understand that we got to invest in the business to grow. At the same time, it's a matter of knowing, what's being provided, and then of course we can look at setting a proper budget.
Absolutely. What are your goals for the agency? Where would you like to get it to
Sure.
in the next 12 months?
In 3 to 4 months, I'd like to see this at 50K, per month, and in 12 months, 100K for sure.
All right. And so you said you had a partner, and
Mhm.
so you're working this by yourself right now?
Correct.
And are you doing all the work yourself, or are you hiring that out? Do you have employees?
Yeah, no, I have contractors for that,
Okay.
for a lot of it. I obviously, kind of run the strategy side and making sure our clients get connected well. But yeah, there's a team to handle the daily operations.
All right. And you're in a position to scale that team? What capacity is your team operating at right now?
Yeah, position to scale. I can plug and play.
Okay. How about a spouse? You're a partner. Do you have someone else that you in your life that may affect your business decisions?
I do have a spouse and kids, but they don't affect the business decisions. No.
Okay. Now, if you build this business to 50 to 100K, um, are you going to are you going to focus more on your other businesses, or this going to be your primary business?
Yeah, eventually I'm going to pull somebody in, to help run this again. Because there's a lot that I like to do. So, um,
Okay, so your ultimate goal is to bring on, say, a customer relations specialist to manage the agency for you?
more of bring on a me, and then and then move. Yes, that is an aspect that will also need handled.
Okay, okay, excellent. Okay, so other than your, say, lack of experience or in the B2B, what sort of what's holding you back from getting to 50K a month?
Oh, I don't think there's too much holding me back. I think it's just a matter of wanting to get there, wanting to get there. And so I definitely have to get somebody, an agency of some type, to help me on the marketing model. And potentially even on that fulfillment side. So it's just a matter of time.
Okay, so that's what you're looking to compress, just the time frame. You pretty certain you could do this by yourself,
No,
but you okay, so you
I'd never do it by myself, but I know how to lead a team to hit these results. So um, it's a matter of just getting the right players in place to help me do it.
okay, gotcha.
Sometimes that process takes time, Ben, like to get the right people. So I'm
Ab-
pragmatic about it.
Absolutely. That is a good way of looking at it. So, is there anything else about your business that you think I should know about before we move forward with talking about what we could do for you?
Um, yeah. I guess the if it helps, do you need to know anything about the package that we do?
Absolutely.
Okay. Um, yeah. So we right now the niche that I've really decided to hone in on. We've done more niches, but just because that's what you're taught to do, right? We do HVAC marketing really, really well. And targeting clients for them. But yeah, November we launched. Like I said, the LinkedIn organic, and really got nothing out of that. And we started running Facebook ads late in January and early February, and we had about 10 leads come through for that. And it kind of like slowly built up, but the sales haven't been as good as I thought. So maybe I'm not as good of a salesman as I thought either. Um, but I think, initially the Facebook ads weren't bringing in hardly anything, and we bumped the ad spend up from $20 a day to $54 a day, and that that's pretty much what made the leads come in. Was that price bump, I'm guessing, and yeah, the offer that we have right now is $3,000, and we guarantee a minimum amount of leads for our clients. Um, so they're yeah, so that's kind of how the packages are broken down, or the package.
Okay, excellent. And so right now you have about five to seven clients a month that you're working with?
Um, is that what I said?
Well, your package is $3,000 a month. You're generating $15,000 to $20,000 in revenue. I just kind of did the
Oh,
math.
gotcha. Those types of, I've got clients that aren't necessarily, I've got a couple in the HVAC space right now, and a couple in other spaces. So yes. But from that actual program, um, no, those didn't come from that program. We've had, one new client come on, with the new offer.
Okay. Okay. And so the other revenue was from previous offers that you were doing?
Previous relationships, correct?
Okay. And in other uh, niches?
Right. Yeah, well, we have some in the HVAC area, which is why we decided to launch the niche, why I decided to launch the niche. But um, yes, there are other clients that are in other like service industry spaces.
Okay.
And so I don't really know if that's exactly how we should do that, is just beyond the niche or not. But it's one of the common things that I hear from the marketing space.
No, and that is the ideal practice is to hone in on a niche and figure out how to tackle that niche, and then you can use what you've learned and we can expand into other niches. But the digital space is a very highly targeted uh, space. So you've got the right idea, and we can definitely work with that to expand your business. So okay, so let me just kind of go over quickly what I understand. So you've had the agency for 4 years. It's been relatively successful, but you had a split 2 years ago, and you're not confident with your B2B marketing skills, and that's where you're looking to bring someone like us on. It looks like your B2C is fairly successful, and that's what you're marketing to other businesses. And you want to get from 20K to 50K and ultimately up to turn it into a seven-figure business. Does that sound
Yep.
about right?
Hmm.
And you're looking to bring on an experienced partner to help you do that and streamline your process.
Correct.
All right, Jackson. Well, I think we're almost at your 20-minute limit. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm interested to hearing what you guys do, and how you might be able to help. Yeah, you've handled the call well.
Absolutely. So I guess the next step will be to book a follow-up call. And so during the next, let's maybe try, what do you think is going to work for you? Tomorrow around the same time?
Yeah, but do you mind sharing a little bit more about how the process works with you guys, Ben? We've got about 4 more minutes.
Absolutely. So what we do is on the next call, we're going to take everything we've learned about you, and we're going to go over our process, and we're going to identify the areas and the methods that we can come into your business and tweak it and streamline the process for you to get more business clients, and how our team goes about doing that. And so in the meantime, what I think you should do is come up with a list of questions you have for us on how we're going to do that, and how you want see a partner coming in to help your business, and also figure out on a financial level what makes sense to you in growing your business, and then we can go from there.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds like a plan.
All right, excellent. So
What does the investment look like with you guys, Ben? Based on what you know. What's the typical place that you take people from here in my situation?
Well, we have packages starting as low in the around the $7,000 range up to $50,000 range. So it's really going to depend on how aggressive you want to be, how quickly you want to grow, and that's what we'll discuss on the next call. And so for someone in your situation, just again, it's going to be dependent on how quickly you want to grow and what areas you want us to tackle in your business. And obviously, we're looking at a more long-term relationship because we are a fulfillment agency. So that number can change, right? So it may make sense to us to start with a smaller package, and as you grow, build up into more services that make sense to you.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that's what my ideal type of plan would be. So, I appreciate your time, man, and thanks for giving me that. Let's definitely book for tomorrow.
All right, excellent. Sounds good. So I have you booked in here for 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and is that a phone call or something else?
We'd like to do a Zoom call if that works for you.
That's great.
All
Is
right.
that with you or is that with somebody else?
That will be with me. I will send you the link
Good.
and then I'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. You did great. Like 100% great. How do you feel?
I felt pretty good. I felt like you kind of softballed me a little bit with throwing up your package there. I should have gone for that.
I softballed you, but at the same time, as a ideal prospect, like I'm gonna ask. Like there's no point in role play. The goal too isn't to try to make you struggle at all times. It's also to make sure that we stay in the mindset of the prospect that we're representing. So there's plenty of times where my mind wants to dick with the person that's trying to sell me.
Yeah.
But it's also just not. It can be unproductive to do that. Um, and there's plenty of feedback to go on, with this scenario, and it's not necessarily right or wrong either. So that's kind of what we're going to explore is the angles of what you could have done, and
Mhm.
areas that could have held you back. But in this scenario, no, like this person's coming on tomorrow, and they're going to be interested in talking. That doesn't mean they're ready to move forward. There are areas of emotion that you possibly could have driven out more, but you made sure to cover a lot of ground with limited time that you had to work with. And so in the next call, what are some areas that you feel you need to be prepared to address?
Oh, for myself?
If you want to get the close, yeah, what are some areas where you need to create more gaps?
Well, I think the biggest gap to exploit here is the fact that this prospect knows that they're not good with B2B. And so I think I'd have to be prepared with, possibly some case studies that we've done, certainly just with the confidence that B2B is an area that we're going to knock it out of the park for this client.
Mhm.
And also, they really seem to be interested in the done for you aspect. They seem to kind of want to walk away from this business. So I need to make sure that I address that, how we can make that possible. And then also, I think trying to develop, trying to figure out how to address the or adjust their expectation on what a business owner should expect to get out of a business that they own but are not operating. Because I'd have to establish what their expectation is, because if they think, I mean, right now they're getting a 25% profit margin, and for a business that you're not engaged in day to day, that's probably the most you should expect. And
I'm so glad you said that. That is one of the biggest areas where your mindset and your paradigm, because you're so stinking smart, Ben, is wrong.
Okay.
Isn't that cool? There's so many little things. So, first off, the terms profit margin, gross profit, net profit, all that, fuck them. Just to be straight up real, most business owners have those defined wrong in their head.
Mhm.
So if you get married to the idea, and I see a lot of people who are trying to figure that process out struggle with it. If you get married to the idea that they know the definitions, you are wrong. And so you can't speak. You need to use those terms so that they know you know them. You have them. You don't want to make them feel awkward or condescended to. You want to make it a safe space. But in this case, yes, I know what profit margins are, but you don't. My profit margins are what goes back into my business, not what I take home.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? So you know what I have available to put back into my business, but you have no idea what my salary is.
Right. Yep.
And so that was never touched. And so I was waiting to see if you'd pick that up. And it didn't matter because I have the finances to invest. So you also didn't gain the most clarity on that you could, but it didn't need to push. It didn't matter in this case. Like it's gonna, that's not gonna be an obstacle for this individual. But that is something very clearly important to establish to people, because with business owners, it's also a great area to exploit in order to help them move from self-assured to uncertain. And so, okay, when you say profit margins, are you referring to your personal take? Like, again, I talk to a lot of business owners. Some of them don't know, don't even look at their revenues, ironically, which is kind of unsafe. But at the same time, not everybody's a CFO or has that mentality. So that's okay. Now you protected them in case they don't know anything. But, I do want some clarity on that to make sure we can help you best. So what is your actual take home? I always try to get that. What do you take home for you and your family, for your lifestyle? That's way more important than defining the actual term. And then profit margins, I'd like to define as kind of what you put back into your business. Do you have that right now? Most entrepreneurs I know, they don't live paycheck to paycheck, but their salaries fluctuate. And at the end of the day, they don't really want to put more back into their business because of the amount they're already spending on it and the lack of return they're sometimes getting. So is that kind of the case? Or how do you handle your finances and your decisions with finances based on the ebbs and flows of your revenues? So it's very murky. The question's clear. And if they say, what do you mean? I'm not going to ramble. I'm going to say, well, how much do you reinvest in your company each month? I'll give them a direct one just to hit them hard so that they get murky, not me.
Yep.
Or what's your take home? Like, do you take home the same amount each month, or does it fluctuate? Tell me about that. It's fair. Like,
Yep.
in some of my businesses, I do it too. I give lots of generalizations that protect me from having to directly answer stuff to, and I do have multiple businesses, so I don't have to, like, it's not a lie. If I didn't, I would say, my mom owns 6 different businesses, and their revenues fluctuate. Some of their businesses, are losing money currently, while others are bringing in a healthy cash flow. And at the end of the day, the balance sheets, stay net positive. But obviously, her goal is to get some of those businesses to where they're, all of them to where they're profitable, but some of them where they're at max profitability. Where are you at with this business? I don't mind using a third party or my business partner if the mom thing makes you uncomfortable. So the key is if you can stay certain with it and drive more on clarity for that or uncertainty for them, that helps expose where we need to help them. It's not about making them feel bad. All right. So that's a big one. This isn't a sales call can get you in a lot of trouble. I hate that line. It wasn't bad in this one because it's an assessment call, but sales people who it's so overutilized to gain trust that a lot of us have this it's like a trigger word of don't give me that crap. So that's neither here nor there. You can use it. You did forget to talk about the packages or the package, and that's a important point for me to gain clarity. Some opportunities there are to ask if he's certain about the price point. That's a
Okay.
really big opportunity, especially with a new package. Are you, and is that $3,000? Okay. How do you feel about the pricing of the package? Is it spot on? Is it room to raise it? Talk to me about that. Has it been hard to sell? I want them talking about their uncertainty and clarity there. When I did that with this particular individual, I did that, and I said, is there room to move it up? He said, oh yeah. And I said, because I'm pretty certain that should at least be closer to 5,000 or 6,000, but I do need to know a little bit more about it first. So you mentioned a guarantee of minimum leads. That's a bold move. I like. How many leads are we talking? At the $3,000 mark. It's like, well, it really depends on who's what, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, but he said, I have the price where it's at because of trust. Because I asked, what makes that price point? He's like, trust. And I said, okay. So, well, are you open to a little coaching? And he's like, yeah, and I played with that for a little bit just to get him really bought into that. And I said, when it comes to trust, pricing actually has the opposite effect. Nobody goes to Kia because of trust. They go to Kia because it's cheap. Everybody goes to Lexus or higher end cars when they want a product that they trust. So I think you're actually diminishing the trust by doing that. You're probably securing more sales, but you're securing more sales with people who you probably don't really want to work with, and actually repelling your ideal market. And I just shut up, and he's like, oh, yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. I was like, so the good news is, yeah, like you should be able to raise this, but I also want to make sure that what you're providing provides the margin. So how many leads? 37 leads. I said, really? I was like, in the HVAC space, what's the close ratio of these clients? He said, well, let's say that they don't have a great close ratio, but let's say it's 30%. And so I said, okay, what's the average order value? It's I know it's pretty high in the HVAC. And he said, yeah, his average order value is 7,500. With a 40% profit margin. He already knew all that. I was like, good. I was like, so he's like, it's 2,800. And I said, so you're telling me you're getting 12 new deals for your clients at $2,800 as far as profit margin goes. That's over $30,000 on a $3,000 package. That's absurd. That's fantastic. Building him up too. Holy crap. I was like, yeah, that's something you can scale. I was like, no, but I was like, we need to get this to at least 5,000 to 6,000 because your client, I wouldn't say that if your client's not winning or not close to winning or whatever, if there's a challenge, but there's not, you're taking way too little for the amount of value you're providing. Is that fair to say? He's so emotionally bought in at this point to like, yeah, I got somebody on my side who's going to help me with this. Right. And the other opportunity is gathering the timeline. You came up with this. I actually didn't mind the timeline of how soon he wants out. How soon do you want to get to where you're doing? And that was a big pain for him. So I didn't maximize that as well as I could have on my call. Now here's a big area where you can change your win ratio exponentially. We have a tendency as human beings to like to leverage our self-assurity a little too much, or our knowledge. When I started talking about moving into a niche market, one of the most dangerous games that you can play as a salesman is to move into matter-of-fact responses, even if you think you're right. That is the ideal plan. It's a very dangerous answer because you need to be open-ended and flexible. What if your agency comes in and says that's not the ideal plan for him? Now you've cornered yourself and the experience, and he's bought all his trust into what the idea, but you don't know the ideal plan. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know the ideal plan. That keeps you in safe territory as a consultant. So typically the fastest way to lose an argument in life is to make a matter-of-fact statement.
Right.
Notice that I use the word typically. It becomes impossible, almost impossible to argue with me.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes impossible to argue with me about, nope, it's not. I just created an argument. It becomes almost impossible to argue with me if I make a direct statement.
Yeah.
Nobody can really argue with that. Really, all of these little softener words save you. And you might see in my Facebook post sometimes somebody tries to argue with me, and I always go back to that little filler word and comment like, "You have a great point. That's why I said typically." And they're like, "Oh, open mouth, insert foot," because I've protected myself. So yes, that's a very common strategy, and we'll evaluate that for sure. But sometimes doing the opposite, sometimes there's great power in going outside of the norm. But yeah, we'll make sure to do the right way either way. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Take that moment to create some uncertainty, because he even seemed a little uncertain, and yeah, I could have exploited that rather than building up. Go, yeah, that seems like the obvious tactic,
mhm.
but we're looking to see what's best for your business.
And when I said you handled the call well, what should your response be typically?
Oh, thank you.
Yep. People who are gracious in nature and grateful for individuals also appreciate the same type of sentiment. So I didn't feel steamrolled. It didn't ruin anything, but I think you have another opportunity to really win a mo there by by being more receptive. Your response to that was, I believe, yeah, obviously we're gonna move into whatever, and so it was fine. But there's a little etiquette win that you can have right there by saying thank you. Thank you for honoring me with that. Ultimately, is what you're saying, and then you're moving forward. Um, Again, it's just a matter of which posture you want to be in, right? Which of the three? You want to be superior, which is what you did, which is fine because that it reflects well on you. The last thing, because I've got a call in 1 minute, how to get out of the 4 minutes. Instead of taking the 4 minutes, if you don't want to have to feel like, what, I'm going to use my next 4 minutes as well. I've got another call coming up to look in. Like, I'm excited to kind of dive into the HVAC world a little bit and just make sure I got my bearings there. You have a wonderful day. Let's get in the call tomorrow and let's move forward. With that, I don't have time to really explain that. I'm going to jump on this call, but there was an opportunity there as well to just kind of make that a little bit more solid. But you did another amazing job. I can't wait to share this. So
Thank you so much.
absolutely, Ben. We'll be in touch.
For sure.